Moten. We are interrupting our normal programming to bring you the breaking news that President Trump and the First Lady have tested positive for the coronavirus. Again, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for COVID-19. The president tweeted this just moments ago, this statement here that we understand the president was saying and confirming the news that he tested positive. This comes just hours after we learned that one of the president's closest advisors, Hope Hicks, tested positive for the virus. She tested positive on Wednesday night and had been experiencing symptoms. She had been traveling with the president for on several trips this week. We understand the president also did a phone interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity earlier overnight, confirming that he took a test. The First Lady also took a test. But again, President Trump has tested positive for COVID-19. He tweeted out that tweet earlier tonight. We are waiting to hear more from the White House on the president's condition. We're also waiting to find out if the president is experiencing any symptoms as well as the First Lady. Right now, we are getting word now that have somebody on standby. Who is it again? It is Dr. Jen Ashton. Dr. Ashton, thank you for joining us for this breaking news right now that we are interrupting programming for. At this point, we're still trying to learn more about the president's condition and this positive coronavirus test. What can you tell us?
Well, last night when it was announced that Hope Hicks had tested positive for coronavirus, and of course she had been traveling with the president and in close, prolonged contact, this was not a surprise that the president would be tested, and anyone else who had prolonged close contact with his aide. We have to remember, based on a study just released out of India, the chances of becoming infected after prolonged close contact ranged anywhere from just over 4% to just over 10%. And of course, we know that in the past, the president has been sporadic at best with mask wearing. So again, for anyone in the medical community, this was probably not a big surprise.
When you see and hear the reports of the fact that we know that his closest advisor, Hope Hicks, was in close proximity, she was on Air Force One traveling to and from the presidential debate earlier this week. We understand she was on another trip with the president. This really shouldn't come as a surprise because she was also on Marine One with the president in very close proximity.
Right. And, there's so much we don't know about SARS-CoV-2, but from the beginning, the recommendations from the CDC was that anyone within 6 feet of distance for more than 15 minutes of time exposure to a known positive case was considered at risk. And certainly without one or both people wearing masks, we don't know if that was the case with Hope Hicks and the president. But, this is a virus that has shown that it is readily transmissible. And, we haven't known a lot during the course of this pandemic because it is so new, but prolonged close contact has been known since the beginning. So, this is just a demonstration that, in fact, no one is immune from becoming infected with SARS-CoV-2.
All right, Dr. Jennifer Ashton there, please stay with us. I want to bring in my colleague Mona Kosar Abdi as well. And Mona, to read that tweet one more time from the president, he said, "Tonight, Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together." We know the president is also at the White House with the First Lady. So let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl. Jonathan, what do you know?
Well, we have the statement from the White House saying that, quote, "The president and First Lady are both well at this time, and they plan to remain at home within the White House during their convalescence." A truly remarkable statement. It goes on, "The White House medical team and I will maintain a vigilant watch, and I appreciate the support provided by some of the country's greatest medical professionals and institutions. Rest assured, I expect the president to continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering, and I will keep you updated on future developments." That is the statement from White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany for Kelly McEnany from the doctor, Dr. Sean Conley, the White House physician. I mean, this is a truly shocking development. We are a month out from the presidential campaign. I mean, from the presidential election. You have, a quarantine period would normally be 14 days. He's positive. Who knows? Certainly that would be a minimum, raising the likelihood, if not certainty, that for at least half of this campaign going forward, the president will be under quarantine. And the situation could be far beyond that as well.
And John, earlier when the president tweeted out that Hope Hicks tested positive, he said, "We will begin our quarantine process." He said it before he announced that he was testing positive. Even in this week's debate, he was essentially mocking Joe Biden, has mocked Joe Biden for how often he wears masks in public. Do you think that this will reflect negatively then on his campaign approach about saying that he was going to hold live rallies, hold rallies without social distancing, without people wearing masks? He said that he does maintain a distance, but we see now that he has tested positive. How does this change the campaign going forward?
Well, look, the president had 5 campaign events scheduled. He was supposed to be campaigning in Florida today, Friday. He was scheduled to be in Wisconsin. He had a full campaign schedule. Obviously, that all goes out the window. But you raise a really important point. The president has gone forward with, as if the pandemic was a thing of the past. In fact, he just spoke via video to New York's Al Smith dinner, talking about the pandemic as something that was very soon going to be over. This has been his theme. Those have been his words, but it's also been his actions. The president announced Amy Coney Barrett as his nominee for the Supreme Court vacancy created by the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg at the White House over the weekend. It was an event that was held in the Rose Garden. It was a Rose Garden that was packed. People seated shoulder to shoulder, virtually nobody there wearing masks. This has been routine. This is the way. I mean, I was out at the debate in Cleveland, and you saw the president's staff. He had 20 seats set aside for family and advisors, and almost none of them were wearing masks. At one point, somebody from the Cleveland Clinic, which hosted the debate, had to come in and hand out masks to the president's family and supporters. It's almost as a badge of honor that the president and his senior staff have almost never been seen wearing masks. I mean, only a handful of times have we seen the president himself wearing a mask, let alone his top advisors. This has been. I mean, I go to the White House quite frequently. There are signs as you enter the White House complex that say maintain social distancing, 6 feet apart. You go inside that White House complex, and as a matter of course, the press maintains social distance and wears masks, but you do not see the same thing happening by and large for the senior staff in the West Wing. This is a White House that has tried to send out a message to the American public that this thing is over, meaning the pandemic is over. And now we see dramatically in this statement from the White House that is obviously not true. The president himself testing positive for this disease.